For today's healthy cooking recipe, I am returning to my Italian roots and sharing my wife's homemade and healthy meatballs, which I'm sure Shirley you're going to love. And before we even get going on that, I want you to know how dedicated my wife and I are to this show, because in the Italian culture, mothers don't even give their meatball recipe to their daughters.
And we're giving it to the general public.
We're giving it to the general public. I mean, there's some things that are sacred. You can even give out your gravy recipe. You know, Italians call red stuff gravy. Everybody else calls it sauce.
Oh, okay. Wow.
That's another thing, though, if you're truly Italian, is that you call it gravy instead of
Peggy.
sauce.
Thank you, Peggy, for sharing your recipe with us. So what are in these wonderful meatballs?
Well, what we try, again, always in our house to make everything healthy. We have shown it in a recent show, there are 3 different types of meat that are available, and there's more than this, but this is your typical commercially raised beef. You see all the white marbling in it and all the graininess. Isn't that the, okay, wait a minute. I think that's the I'm sorry. This is what did I say? This is the bison. I'm sorry. And you just see how pure that meat looks.
We did a bait and switch.
Yes.
We turned it around.
And I'm looking at this and going, there's a lot of white in this. This is commercially raised beef, and that white stuff is anything from cartilage to fat to whatever.
Right.
This is grass-fed beef. You see how pure it looks, okay?
This is the reddest, the most lean of all is the grass-fed beef.
Well, and as we've mentioned before, it actually has less fat and cholesterol than skinless chicken breast.
Unbelievable.
Now, this particular batch we made with bison. It is so tasty and so delicious to make it with bison. People think, and the thing about bison is that the big food giants have not gotten into the game yet.
Right.
So at this point in time, bison are still allowed to roam the range free. And they basically are out there, Shirley, until it's time to come in and die.
And they're big animals. So, nobody has to make them grow fast anyway. They're big animals. Hopefully nobody will spoil that, because I'm telling you, ground buffalo is delicious.
It is delicious. And, going back to the common sense and God's design of it all, by allowing them to roam free on the range, they're moving all day. That's why the meat is so lean. See, in commercially raised beef, where these cows are basically sitting or standing, but not moving in these pens all day, they're out of shape. They're fat. So we're eating fat cows, and that's what we're getting.
Yeah, and they love that because it's,
Now here's what we do. Can I just steal this from you, please?
Here you go.
Here's what we do. We take a cup of breadcrumbs. We use a cup of imported Romano. Now, if you want to make real Italian meatballs, you got to put Romano in when you cook them, and you got to add Romano when they're done.
Oh, yes. You put cheese in them.
Both times. Oh, absolutely.
That's a secret I didn't know.
That's very much of a secret, and you could actually taste the Romano in it. In fact, my wife's tastes are cute enough where if you try and use Parmesan instead of Romano, you're busted.
Oh, wow.
You are busted.
She's good.
She is good. She put grated Romano or Parmesan to be nice, but she wouldn't use Parmesan if her life depended on it, okay?
That's to throw us off.
That's to throw us off.
That's to throw us off.
We put 2 tablespoons of organic cream, a third of a cup, and we'll have all this on the site, but a third of a cup of, now how would you pronounce that cheese?
Well, ricotta.
Ricotta. Well, yeah, it's closer, but most people say ricotta.
But it's ricotta.
Well, if they're really telling you say ricotta.
Oh, really?
So yes, you leave off that syllable at the end. We're just trying to educate our
ricotta cheese, all right.
1 clove of organic garlic through a press, a minced onion, sea salt here instead of the typical table salt, fresh parsley, brown free-range eggs. People, take a good look.
As opposed to the white ones.
We want the brown.
Yeah, they're showing our recipe right now, but anyway.
Okay.
Here we are. There's the difference in the eggs.
Free-range, allowed to roam on the range, healthy chickens, okay? Half-pound round grass-fed or organic beef, and a half-pound of ground bison. That's right. I take that back.
Okay.
She made these. This is
half and half.
This is half grass-fed beef, and this is half bison.
Yeah. So does a pound of ground beef? How many does that make? Do you know? Enough to feed your family, or probably not?
No. Are you kidding me?
So you do 3 times the recipe? Okay.
But
it'd be enough for Jerry and me.
Yes. These are some really, I don't know if Jerry tastes one. I don't know. You might need to.
That's true.
But let's take a taste of these, Shirley.
Okay.
Another tip that we want to give people, if they're going to have pasta with their meatballs, is to eat a salad first, then eat a meatball first, then eat the pasta.
Okay.
You'll eat less pasta that way, okay? I don't know if I'm able to just do one.
Guys, I have to tell you, these are really, really good. And they're not even.
Oh, you know what I forgot to do?
What? Oh, put some Romano.
She's going to get a divorce now. Oh.
You ruined them. You ruined them.
Don't watch the show.
Put some on that bite. Put some on my bite. Thank you.
That's how they should look. She told me before I came on the show, don't put the cheese on too early because it'll just melt into the meatball. Yeah. People won't see the cheese. So.
Oh, okay, we got to go. But that is delicious, wonderful. Well, in today's healthy shopping, are you buying the right kind of vitamins, and vitamin C and others? Well, today we're decoding the labels on some supplements that might be in your kitchen cabinet. So how do we read these labels, Joe, and find out what's good and what's bad?
Shirley, I just have so much empathy, even sympathy for people walking into a health food store.
Oh, I know.
I mean, the place is overwhelmed. You might wind up talking to some sales clerk who happens to like a certain product because the salesperson's cute. I mean, who knows, you know?
Well, Joe, let me just back up. You go into a drugstore. Mm-hmm. Even in my pharmacy, there is a whole aisle. Even in my pharmacy, not the health food store. The health food store has how many aisles? Thousands of products. But even in my pharmacy, in my drugstore, there's a whole aisle of vitamin products. It's very confusing. Well,
Shirley, there is a difference. And one rule of thumb you can use before we even get into some specifics here, one rule of thumb is that, the stuff that's really inexpensive, $4, $5, and $6, our family is in the business of manufacturing nutritional supplements. Mm-hmm. I know what it goes into to actually make these products.
Right.
And I know that you could take a batch of nutrition and make it heavier by adding certain types of oils and gums, okay?
Oh, okay.
So you make the batch go way further, and then you can bring the price down that way. But to do it right, our family knows what it costs. The buck stops here with misinformation about, okay? So that's one good rule of thumb.
That if it's too cheap, it's not a good vitamin.
It's not. There's a couple examples, and there always are, of things that probably really don't matter a whole bunch. For instance, vitamin C, ascorbic acid. If it's in a capsule and if it's in powder form, if it's straight ascorbic acid, it's straight ascorbic acid.
So it can be in even a pill.
Well, if it's in a tablet,
better?
I'm always wary of tablets because what you have to slug that tablet, what you have to do to keep that tablet together is very hard to digest.
Okay.
We have two piles here, Shirley. We have very bad.
Very bad?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to break the rules here. I'm going to pick this up and read off the label because if I don't, people aren't going to understand why this isn't any good. This is a children's vitamin, popular selling children's vitamin. Mom, Dad think, look at us. Aren't we good parents? We're going to give this kid some nutrition.
Sure.
Here's what they're giving them. Let's start here. Beeswax, FD&C red number 40, potassium iodine, FD&C yellow number 6.
Oh my gosh, those are food
FD&C blue number 1, and I can go through the whole label and show you there's a handful of other preservatives in here. That vitamin will last long after will still be in that, will come out that child the same way it went in, okay? Here's a product here. It's a typical multivitamin, and look at the numbers compared to Kylia. See, 100%, 100%, they're just meeting the RDI, which we know is all too low. You look on a label like Kylia's product, and you're going to see 800%, 500%. We're giving you what your body needs, not just what it has to have. We're not out to meet a price point, just to tickle your ears. We're out to actually make a difference in your body.
Yeah. So low price is one thing to look out for. Low RDA.
Low RDA
is another one.
And on the label itself, after the word nutrients, the only thing you should see is something like magnesium stearate, which is what the capsule's made out of. Don't want to see anything else. Here's another example. This is a big selling brand of joint formula.
Okay.
It contains glucosamine and it contains chondroitin.
Okay.
Two good joint formulas.
Yes.
In a complete joint formula, here's more of what you need. A man needs especially vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, glucosamine, BioCell chicken collagen. We actually use
is this a Kylia product?
Yes, it's a Kylia Joint Life.
Okay.
We use actually chicken cartilage in there. We use turmeric extract. We use green tea. There's about 9 different ingredients
here. Now, why
here.
put that in your Joint Life?
Because synergistically, Shirley, it's been proven that these together make the difference in actually lubricating the joints.
Okay, I gotcha.
In our prostate formula here, which is called ProFlow, okay? On many products, you will see something like Pygeum, or you might see saw palmetto. Well, we have all those things in there, but we also have glycine, we also have Pygeum, we also have lycopene.
Okay.
And we talked about lycopene.
Yeah.
Now, in many lycopene supplements.
This is the red colored vegetables.
Tremendous for the prostate. In many lycopene supplements, it's the only thing in a supplement, and you'll still only see 3 or 4 or 5 milligrams. Wow. This is a multi-nutrient formula. Lycopene is just one of 7 things in it, and there's 10 milligrams of lycopene. Why? That's the amount of lycopene that's needed to make a therapeutic difference for a men's prostate. And so we tell everybody, if you're over 40 years old, they say, what else do I need besides a Total Living Drink? Everything in the world is in there. For a man, you need a prostate formula if you're over 40, and for a woman, you need to be taking extra vitamin D for what we've been talking about in the show.
Good.